My name is Rajashree, and I'm a software engineer at Rancho Labs. And today I'm going to talk about a couple of our open source projects, products that we recently released. So let's start with Rio. As we all have seen, the adoption of Kubernetes has just increased tremendously in the last couple of years. And because of which there are now multiple Kubernetes distros. This all makes the process of installing a Kubernetes cluster and getting it up and running quite easy. So you can choose from among the various hosted Kubernetes providers such as GKE, AKS, EKS, or you can use any of the tools such as RKE, KubeADM to just get up a cluster. And while there are all these distros that are making the process of getting a cluster easy, a lot of other projects are also being added to the CNCF ecosystem. So, for example, this is the CNCF Landscape. I know it's all looks very crammed up, but that's because there are these many projects and they are all super useful. They help you right from like application development to CI/CD, service mesh, monitoring, logging, and so many different use cases. And there are like all these extremely useful projects. But we have seen that whenever people are like trying to have their cluster up and running and after that have a an integration of all these various components on their cluster, it gets a little difficult or overwhelming at the beginning. And also once you have such a setup running, it's also a challenge to keep maintaining it. Like maybe you have to figure out which components work best, like which projects work best for your use case and which versions of these components integrate best. So we realized that people really needed like a platform that kind of integrated certain components that were good enough to start running applications. So we realized that what they actually needed was something similar to a platform as a service, a PaaS. And in the past, we have seen there are various PaaS products and they have a lot of benefits, like they'll provide a fully integrated stack. It's basically like horizontally integrated applications, like projects that help you with creating applications, building them, deploying them, managing them, and so on. And they are completely, like they abstract the process of app development from the underlying infrastructure, so they are agnostic of the underlying infra, which is pretty great. But they also had some limitations, like they were usually massive products, so setting them up itself was a big IT project. Like a whole IT department was needed to set them up and after that also manage them. And because they were so hard to manage, they were also quite slow in adopting the new technologies. So when we were thinking of designing our MicroPaaS, we kept all these things in mind. So we came up with this MicroPaaS Rio, which is a completely integrated platform that will run on top of your Kubernetes cluster. And we know that clusters can be like multi-tenant setups, so we have kept that in mind as well. And this also abstracts the app development from the underlying infra and can run on all the clusters. But at the same time, it's like we have tried to make it as lightweight as possible and we are still working on it. And it's really easy to get it up and running. And the most important thing is it just leverages the capabilities of the underlying Kubernetes cluster. Like it doesn't try to overpower it or anything. It's just like using all the K8s capabilities. And you can pick whichever functionalities you need from that. So yeah, so Rio is the MicroPaaS for your Kubernetes cluster. And it's built from Kubernetes custom resource definitions. So basically, Rio incorporates Istio for service mesh, Prometheus, Let's Encrypt, Cert Manager, and Knative. It like installs all of them for any services or applications that you want to run. And then it will offer using all of these components like continuous delivery, HTTP routing and load balancing, monitoring, different types of like deployments, blue-green deployment, AB or Canary. And actually I've prepared a very small screencast recording that I just wanted to show. So yeah, to install Rio also you can, first of all you can just go to our website rio.io, check it out. And over here, these are some restrictions, like you need a Kubernetes cluster with version 1.13 and up. And yeah, so you can install Rio using either the releases page or just this curl script, which will work on Mac OS or ARM architecture. And so when you're installing Rio, we actually use the service load balancer to expose the service mesh gateway. So in case your cluster is not supporting the service load balancer, you can install it with Rio install host ports option. So that's what I have done, and I have installed Rio on a Kubernetes cluster. As you can see, it has created a namespace called Rio system. I don't know if that